creativity is the essence of life. And I can make my morning coffee super grumpy with thoughts in my head about, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to get up so early and I've got to go to work and oh my gosh, the kids and there's so much to do and I'm overwhelmed and I've only been up for 10 minutes. Or I can have a very different relationship with my creativity as I'm making that coffee and the thoughts that are in my head.
We've all come here with a divine purpose, traveling on a stream of cosmic dust from the stars into our mother's wombs, born into this precious life. It is no accident that you are here, my love, on earth, in this moment, in this body. You are here longing to find your place, to align with your purpose, to embody your passions and to live into the dreams of your heart. Yet so often we get caught, suspended in the tangle of life, not able to move forward, not able to find solace and comfort in a world that has forgotten the truth of our existence. As we begin to remember, as we peel back the layers, as we come together to uncover our unique gifts and reconnect with our authentic selves, we are able to see another way of being, a new possibility, a different life waiting to be lived. I have experienced on this complicated and wild journey of life that when we connect with the story of our soul, it will show us the magic of this life that we have been missing. It will open a window into the very heart of who we truly are, of who we came here to be, and gives us answers to our ever-asking why.
Welcome, courageous, beautiful souls. Thanks for being here for another episode, for tuning in. Today, our talk or topic or riff is on cycles, rhythms, divine feminine, and how I feel those are all interconnected and how they are a huge part of how we show up in our lives. So I used to be extremely controlling and I ran a lot of masculine energy. It was my way of staying safe. I was a tomboy as a kid. I really used it, right, as a safety structure, as a protective measure. And I was very disconnected from the divine feminine aspect of my life. And so what this ends up looking like is lack of boundaries, lots of people pleasing, lots of perfectionist tendencies, lots of kind of contorting myself into shapes and sizes that I think will be presentable or be acceptable, right, to others so that I can ultimately be loved and belong, right? Such tender, tender places inside of us and such really beautiful reasons that we engage in all of these behaviors. And yet, as we all know, they're really debilitating behaviors and they keep us stuck. They keep us from really living in our own authenticity, for following our own truth, for having our own way of moving through the world. And so for me, when I started connecting in with cycles and rhythms, things started to change. You know, the more connected to my intuition I got, I lived in pretty much eternal sun and summer for most of my life with the choices of the places that I lived. And what happened as I began to get more deeply in tune with cycles and the rhythm of the earth and the rhythm of my own being, the way that my own unique cycle started to come forward and be allowed to have a voice and started to unfold in my life, well, then I ended up moving somewhere with seasons. And so for the last 6 years, I've lived in full 4 seasons. And wow, is it magical and incredible. And people will say, well, what's your favorite season? And I'll start to choose one. And then I'm like, no, but wait. Oh, maybe it's spring because I love all the birds. But I don't know, maybe it's snow in the winter because when the snow falls, oh my gosh, it's so magical. And on I go because I can't pick a favorite season. Because when we are in a real, true, unique, divine, and personal cyclical nature with ourselves, when we have this deep relationship to your own rhythms, what happens is you really just begin to flow with life and everything takes on a different meaning. Everything is experienced very differently. So as I began to look at cycles, I started to see them everywhere. So many of the models we use to describe our personalities, that we use to sort of build our lives on, so many of nature cycles, like there's cycles in everything. So what I'm talking about is, right, the basic ones, the seasons, the moon, the tides, the chakra system for me moves in a cycle with the way the different chakras work. For me, it's also energetic cycles, like the way that our energetic body moves through different vibrational rates. We see it in more sort of philosophical in the Andean shamanic medicine wheel, right? Their mythology and most indigenous traditions are built on a wheel, on a cycle. We see it in Jung's individuation. It can go in a cycle. It can be built around a rhythm and a wheel. We see it in the hero's journey. This is another place that I have found it so deeply woven. There is a cycle, there is a pattern. And what's so beautiful about wheels and cycles is that they just are continuous, right? We do have a beginning and we do have an end. However, the end becomes the beginning and the beginning becomes the end. And we're always moving in these unique rhythms and cycles inside of bigger rhythms and cycles. And when we can really own everything and find our place in not just the bigger cycles of life, but in the cycle that works the most for us. This is where we learn to set boundaries. This is where we learn to do things for ourselves rather than others. This is where we learn to say, yes, I really do want to do this, and no, no way, I am not doing that, right? Whereas so many of us say no when really we do want to do something, and we say yes a whole lot of the time when we don't want to do something because we're worried about what other people will think, or we're responsible for others. We want people to like us. We want to fit in and belong. And in that, we negate what is true for us and what is our own real rhythm that we're here to move to and that we're here to create with and dance to and flow with. And as we start to learn what these particular wheels and cycles do and how we can connect in with them, what happens is there is this incredible connection to the divine feminine. And in my own life, I've seen that huge shift where the divine masculine is still like such a luxurious part of my existence, but it's the healthy divine masculine. And then what that allows for is my true feminine creativity to flow through me. And that is because when we cultivate that deep relationship with the cycles of the planet and of our own being, the divine feminine has the ability to find us. She can flow through us. We are here in service to something bigger, right? And in doing that, what we're saying is, I welcome you. I am willing to peel back all the layers and find that cycle, that rhythm, that unique wheel that is yours to follow. And what we ultimately see is that is actually also the divine flow of life and the divine feminine creativity that is intended to flow through our bodies as women. For men too, right? There is a percentage of masculine energy that women run, and there's a percentage of feminine energy that the masculine runs. And this is true no matter what body or what gender you identify with or what your preferences are in this lifetime, right? Like what you are here to live into. The divine masculine and the divine feminine are present in all of the gender roles. And so it is as we find that place in ourself that is unique to us outside of gender, then we can have these larger gender roles supporting whatever it is that we are here to choose. And it's so tied into creativity. And creativity for me is how we make our life. It is what gets us up. It gets us going. And creativity doesn't have to be like this big giant thing, this project that you're working on, right? You can be super creative in making your morning coffee. You can be super creative in washing the dishes and watering your plants. Creativity is the essence of life. And I can make my morning coffee super grumpy with thoughts in my head about, oh my gosh, I can't believe I have to get up so early and I've got to go to work and oh my gosh, the kids and there's so much to do and I'm overwhelmed and I've only been up for 10 minutes. Or I can have a very different relationship with my creativity as I'm making that coffee and the thoughts that are in my head and the way that I am looking at my day and the lens that I am choosing to view my life through can be incredibly different when I choose it and when I am partnering with the divine feminine. I'm partnering with something, right? I might get some new inspiration of how to make my coffee. And I'm using something very simple because I want you to really understand that it is that simple. Right. And as we master these simple ways of being, this is where we can move into more complex things with our creativity. And yet it can still have the same sense of ease as coffee. There's really no difference when we are standing inside of an inspirational creative moment. I guess what's dropping in that, right? It's that if it always has to be of our choosing, right? If we're always really trying to mold it and make it and go our way, like this is the control. I want to make sure that everything stays inside the road that I have said I'm going to walk today. We lose so much of that creative spark, right? And so it's like allowing that filter to drop off, allowing those expectations, allowing that part of us that is so rigid to just have a rest and to just lay down for a minute so that something bigger can move through you and that the divine feminine can actually come in and permeate your being and inspire you in a way that didn't maybe seem possible when you went to bed last night. But because you're willing to be in a more cyclical and rhythmic nature with life, everything isn't so planned. Everything isn't so scripted. And then we get to let down the walls and we get to let life flow in and love you and bring you surprises. And yes, some of those surprises, they feel a little fiery. Like I'm not going to pretend to you, right? That when you let go and you let the divine flow through you, that everything's just going to be the way that you think it will be, right? Because that's just another iteration of you trying to control it. So it's everything. It's being willing to show up for everything. It's being willing to have the super like joyous, exciting moments alongside the more kind of fiery, scary ones that, hey, I really don't know how this is going to work out. But you know what? I know that I'm capable of walking through it. I know that I have the capacity to hold whatever is coming and I don't have to be living in such a rigid structure, right? That's just so linear. It's in this flow, in this cycle, in this rhythm where everything counts, everything matters, and everything's included, that life really becomes alive. So today, how can you be more alive? How can you be more connected to rhythms and cycles? Where can you look for them in your life? Where can you cultivate them? What does that look like for you? And if you want some guidance on this, I have created the devotion codes, and they are all about loving yourself, self-devotion, moving from self-discipline to self-devotion through the lens of your own unique rhythm, your own unique cycle, and how you can connect in more with this divine feminine energy that's available. It is on Substack. It is a 6-part training series, super full of incredible insights, wisdom, knowledge, all the things to help you really dive into what is keeping you from allowing this flow, right? Being more in your own rhythm and be connected to that divine nature inside you. So you can find that on Substack. There's a link in the show notes. And I love you.